Oh, look at here. The first George Herbert Walker Bush, when he spoke at a fundraiser. My interest in politics was never really sparked until I started teaching school. And I started teaching the Constitution, and I started teaching 8th graders the Constitution. That's when I really got interested in politics. When I was growing up on the East Bluff in Peoria, we never talked about politics. I couldn't tell you who a politician was. I didn't know any politicians. My parents never talked about politics. But it was when I started teaching that I really got interested in politics and decided to leave teaching so I could go into public service, and worked for 2 congressmen, and really that's where I learned. When I was elected in '94, I had 17 years experience as a congressional staffer. So I knew a lot of members of Congress. I knew how to introduce a bill. I knew where the bathrooms were. I knew how to get around Capitol Hill. When you look at Congress, 435 members, it's a microcosm of the country. And my advice to my successor is, don't forget where you came from, and remember the people who gave you this opportunity to serve. If you remember those 2 things, you will be successful in this job. And what I mean by that is, stay in touch with people, listen to people, their concerns. The vast majority of people that live in Central Illinois, whether they're a farmer or a UAW worker or a Keystone worker or a high-tech worker, they work hard and play by the rules. And that's basically all they ask of their elected official. Work hard, play by the rules. You have to be a good listener. But this is probably the most difficult time that our country has faced in a a lot worse than the recession in the 1980s, a lot worse. And for common ordinary citizens in Central Illinois, I think the worst thing for them is that their 401ks have been diminished so bad. High energy costs have hurt people very badly. And that's the reason that people, I believe, elected President-elect Obama, because they want a different direction for the country. But we're not as bad off as many parts of the country are. You know, when my grandchildren are sitting on my knee 10 years from now, or 20 years from now, talking about 9/11 or impeachment or the Iraq War or some of these other things, you know, I will have had a front row seat during those seminal events in our country's history. I was very proud of America on election night. Even though I was supporting Senator McCain, the idea that an African American could be elected president speaks volumes about America, that we could set aside our prejudice and our discrimination, and that an African American could be elected. And even though I wasn't on the ballot, I certainly was a part of watching all of that develop. And so, you know, when I think back on 14 years, there's a lot of history and a lot of important events. And I hope to be able to write about some of that, and certainly have very important memories about being in the front row when those things took place. So, anyway, there you have it. Look at all this stuff. Oh my gosh. Yep, it's all down. All gone. Yeah, everything's gone.